students, I'm Marissa Ingalls, and I will be your lobbyist for Capital Classroom Plus this coming session. I am really looking forward to interacting with you all through the Capital Classroom Plus platform, and so we just wanted to give you a moment to learn a bit more about me and what's to come in the next year. I actually grew up until about 8th grade or so in Hawaii on the Big Island before coming to Washington. And while I was here, I did high school up in Everett, then went to UW for undergrad, and actually went out of state to the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill to get my master's degree. And once I was done with academia, I came back to Washington and needed to get a job. So I started volunteering with a senatorial campaign for the state Senate, if you will. And I was offered the position of the legislative assistant. That is the one full-time staffer that all of the senators and representatives have in Olympia. And they are your go-between between the elected representative or senator and the general public. That was a great way for me to get introduced to Olympia, to really learn on the ground what it means to do policy work, to work at the state legislature. And I did that for about 3 years before going to the University of Washington State Relations team. And then after just under 5 years, I got my current position with Coordinated Care. Coordinated Care is one of the 5 Medicaid managed care organizations. So my core focus in Olympia is around healthcare policy. So thinking about what are the factors that, are really important to someone's overall health and well-being. And because Coordinated Care provides health insurance for all of the children and youth who go through foster care, the child welfare system, I'm also thinking about child welfare policy and our court systems and our judicial systems, what incarceration does for someone's overall health, and there's a lot of research into that. But also, what does, food insecurity mean? How does that help someone or not help someone, thrive? What about housing? And now this year, I also get to dig in on the environment. I am really looking forward to this because the environment is something that I don't get to talk about a lot for my job, but I am really looking forward to following these issues with you all because it is really important for our overall health and well-being to be in a healthy environment. You may have seen headlines around things like the number of deaths related to increased heat over the summers, or increased deaths because of how cold things are, and people who are not in stable housing, have really bad health outcomes from either of those extremes. We're also seeing a lot more asthma because of things like air quality, right? And our state has actually done a lot of thinking for a long time around water quality, because that is also something that is really important, and you kind of can't live without water. If you're a human, if you're a plant, if you're an animal, we all need water. So with that, I am really looking forward to the year ahead. You may be wondering what a lobbyist is and what we actually do down here in Olympia. So if you're thinking I'm walking around in fancy clothes and hobnobbing and drinking some cocktail or beverage that costs an arm and a leg, that is not it at all. Lobbying is actually really, really, really about relationships, right? So at a fundamental level, I am trying to connect with folks who are aligned with me from a policy perspective and who I can connect with on a human level. I actually talk about my kid in a lot of meetings because I'm talking to other parents, and that's a way for us to connect. And so when I am lobbying, I am looking at policy issues that will affect, my company from either a fundamental business operations level or from a philosophical level, right? Because we are talking about a lot of things that affect people as people, and not just ideas in the sky. So I really care about what does a piece of legislation mean in the real world, but I also need to protect my company's interests and make sure that my company can do what the state wants it to do. And so when I am lobbying, a nice word for lobbying is advocating. I am trying to find the best path forward, or I'm trying to make things go away. That is actually a really big piece of lobbying. You will see in the coming year a lot of legislation gets introduced, doesn't make it across the finish line. We're going to see some issues come back from the 2023 session because of our biennial system show up again in 2024, but if they don't get through in 2024, it might be back again in 2025. Who knows? Sometimes things take a long time to get through Olympia. Now, you may be thinking, what's the difference between a lobbyist and an advocate? Well, a lobbyist usually gets paid to advocate. An advocate could be a volunteer, could be someone who is really passionate about a particular issue, and so they are using their free time to go to Olympia and connect with their legislators. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an insight about what a lobbyist is and what we do on a practical, very long day level. So you may be wondering what happens between now in December and what happens after you come back from winter break and the legislative session starts on January 8th. We are in a period where legislators are able to pre-file their legislative bills for the coming session. This is an annual thing that happens in December, where we are going to find out, what is top of mind for legislators, the issues they want to be working on. But we are also going to be looking at what things are coming back from the 2023 session, because we are in year 2 of a 2-year biennium, and bills don't die every single year. So it's kind of confusing, but we'll have a mix of things for you to look at once we are through the pre-files. That is what is going to drive the environmental issues and the topics that we'll be looking at and discussing in depth with you this coming session. I am really excited to work with you all through Capital Classroom Plus this year. We're doing things a little bit differently. It's going to be a great learning experience for all of us, and we are super excited to be able to take your questions through the Capital Classroom Plus platform so that I can answer them for you through these videos. And we are just so excited to hear what you have on your mind, and I am here for you. Do you want to learn more about what it means to be a lobbyist? Do you want to learn more about what the technical steps for a bill becoming a law are? Do you want to know some weird random facts about your elected officials? Because all of these things are hopefully somewhere in my brain. I am going to attempt to be your expert on all things Olympia. And so I really want to know what you're thinking about, what you'd love to learn more about, and how we can help you get the most out of Capital Classroom Plus.